Yo, this is Adrian from the Playoffs of Life podcast, here to sponsor Anchor so that you can find out what Anchor can do for you, as well as what it has already done for my life. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, and let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on things like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, and many other platforms. You can also make money off your podcast with no minimum listenership. And who doesn't like to make money with Anchor? It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're interested, please download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I'll repeat that. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Peace. Yo, what up, podcast people? This is your host, Adrian Hatcher with the Playoffs of Life podcast, and we are back with another episode. This episode, we are going to discuss the Pheonix Suns and the amazing time that they have spent in the playoffs. We are going to go over everything, such as the matchups they have beaten, and as well as where they are now with the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. Now, to start this off, congratulations to the Pheonix Suns, because no one saw them winning as much as they won this year, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. They have proven that they are a top team in the West. They had the second best record in the West, and when they made it to the playoffs, I could honestly say they had one of the toughest matchups in the West for first round, second, and third round. Their first round matchup was the Los Angeles Lakers against Anthony Davis and LeBron James, where of course Anthony Davis was not 100% healthy and could not play every game, but they did have a LeBron James who you could say was healthy enough to really contribute to a team, but they were really exposed in the playoffs. They really showed that as a team, they didn't have the right amount of pieces or the right amount of creation to deal with a Phoenix Sun team. And with Anthony Davis being out, that was such a big blow to them that the Pheonix Suns really had their name and number. And as soon as Chris Paul got back from injury in that series, you could kind of feel the momentum shift. But we would still give the Pheonix Suns all the credit because they had to beat a LeBron James-led team to make it to the next round. And of course, who do they face in the next round? They face the Denver Nuggets. Now, to be understanding, the Denver Nuggets were missing a Jamal Murray. And during that time, they weren't going to get Jamal back anytime during that series. The only player that was probably going to come back to play at least a game 6 or 7, if it got that far, was Will Barton and maybe a PJ Dozier. But as we saw in this series, Will Barton came back to give them an extra scoring punch, and it wasn't enough. Even with their MVP in Nikola Jokic, they still could not beat the Pheonix Suns because the Pheonix Suns had a more complete team and a better game plan at the end of the day. You know, they let Jokic go off, but throughout the series, they shut down a lot of other players who just didn't have enough to step up to the plate. So we will also give that series to the Pheonix Suns. And then you have a Clippers team. Of course, injuries happen again. Kawhi Leonard goes down early in the series, which means that Paul George had to carry the scoring load. But as we saw from the Clippers, they were actually able to push it to a game 7, and that is game 6 really. And that it was mainly because Paul George did step up to the plate, even though Kawhi Leonard was down. You had a Reggie Jackson step up. You had players such as Marcus Morris contribute. You had players such as DeMarcus Cousins, Zubac, a Terrence Mann, who had an amazing 40-point game the last series they played. But that is just another conversation for another day. But these teams that the Pheonix Suns played, I can't really give too many excuses because this is the playoffs. Injuries are part of it. Luck is part of winning any playoff series. Chris Paul was also in and out between those 3 series. It's not until they made it to the NBA Finals that you really are going to get a Chris Paul for every game. At least that's what we are hoping for. We want to see Chris Paul win. He's a Hall of Fame player, and he has a team that he's brought to the NBA Finals, his first NBA Finals. And I personally believe that the Pheonix Suns are going to win it all. They have a more complete team. They have a superstar. They have another established superstar, Devin Booker, who's shown that he can lead and carry this team with the scoring punch that he brings in his all-around game. And then you also have a DeAndre Ayton, who is a rising star, but who has proven to a lot of people that he deserves to be there. A lot of people in his draft class were looked on as better players and players that would make it to an NBA Finals before he did. But thanks to his work ethic and determination, here we are. He is in the playoffs with a Chris Paul, a Devin Booker, and more supporting players such as a Jake Crowder, a Mikal Bridges, a Cam Payne, a Dario Saric, who prayers up to Dario Saric. He had a torn ACL just the other day. This is being recorded after game 1, so prayers up to Dario Saric. But these cast of players that they have contributed and have stepped up to the plate. And I want to make sure that we don't take away from this when we talk about them winning their first championship, because in my opinion, this is going to be their year. That's just how I see it, man. Chris Paul has brought so much culture and so much winning and so much leadership to this team in such a short amount of time that because nobody saw them coming, they were technically underdogs, and these underdogs have made it all the way to the NBA Finals. So let's put some respect on their name. Now, with that being said, do I believe the Milwaukee Bucks have a chance? Yes, the Milwaukee Bucks have Giannis, who even though he is injured right now, he says he feels great. He says that the hyperextended knee that he suffered last series isn't really affecting him too much. But, you know, every player in this series is going to have some type of nagging minor injury or some type of fatigue at this point. You made it this far. That's just part of the game. And then you have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Brook Lopez, and other supporting cast of players. Now, the difference between these two teams is Phoenix, to me, is more complete with their game plan. Phoenix can get production from a Chris Paul, from a Devin Booker, supporting cast, and even if someone's having an off night, somebody else will definitely step up to the plate. If Giannis is not on it at all times, if Chris Middleton is not giving you the production you expect from him, if Drew Holiday is not being the type of point guard that you see on an everyday basis, they're not going to win. It doesn't matter if their supporting cast gives them life and gives them a chance to win. You need your star players to step up, and Giannis is so important because the offense is run through him. And it's weird because when he's not playing, the Milwaukee Bucks actually look like a better overall team. But without your superstar, how far can you go in the playoffs? Nobody would expect them to win the championship if Giannis sits. But when he sits, they play more efficiently because there's more ball distribution and the team has to contribute in order to have a shot. So the Pheonix Suns, though, don't necessarily have to go that direction. DeAndre Ayton has shown that if you run the offense through him, he can be a focal point for the entire game. And I haven't seen any adjustments from the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, of course, it's only been one game, but I haven't seen anything to prove to me that they can beat DeAndre Ayton in the pick and roll, that they can stop Chris Paul from not only scoring in the mid-range and all around the court and picking his spots, but also stop Devin Booker from scoring in bunches, because that's what they do. That's the team that's come prepared with a game plan, and because of their individual skills and talents, the team as a whole thrives. And then if you get any type of scoring punch from players such as Mikal Bridges or Jake Crowder or Cam Payne, then you just have extra in the tank. It just looks like they have more longevity. It also looks like they just have more cohesiveness. This is their year, in my opinion. So I'm going to put my prediction as the Pheonix Suns winning this. Now, I don't know how many games it's going to take. Hopefully it comes down to a Game 7. I think everybody would enjoy a Game 7 matchup between our two NBA Finals teams. But we will see. After game one, it's not looking so good for Milwaukee, but that's an understatement because we haven't seen Milwaukee on their home court yet. And home court advantage is such an important aspect to teams when they play. We saw that with series such as the Atlanta Hawks versus Milwaukee. We saw that with Dallas versus Clippers. Home court played such a vital role in what that series was going to become. So we're going to have more content on the podcast after the NBA Finals happens. We also have an update with what happens, who will win, whether I'm wrong and Milwaukee ends up winning the day. We will see. But we also have the off season coming up, so can't wait for that. And more content will be on the way past the off season because we have a lot of players to talk about in the draft as well as during free agency. So with that being said, guys, I will see you later. Peace.